Welcome everyone to our Abundance Book Club. Today we are talking about our inner knowing and also what it really takes to create our dreams. So I'm here today with Terry. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning.
Good morning. Terry, for those of you that don't know, is an amazing nutrition coach. She is my nutrition coach. And I love how you layer on your wisdom about the body into what we're talking about abundance. Because although we talk a lot about money and finances and our self-worth and all of those things, abundance is every part of our lives. We actually get to live a life that we love in every part. So bringing in that health and fitness space to this conversation is such a blessing to have you here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Awesome. For those of you watching, you can always join us. You can jump into the book club and be reading the book with us, be in this conversation on a regular basis by registering for it at tabithabenway.com. There's no cost to it. It's just a place that we all connect and grow together and create tribe together. So if what we're speaking into speaks to you and you would like to join us, we'd love to have you join us. Just go to tabithabenway.com to register so that you have all of the information. And then join us here every day, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern time. You are so welcome in our space. Just come and listen if that serves you better. But whatever would serve you, that is what we're here. That is what we're up to. I won't stumble through all day.
It's okay if you do.
Clear the stuff. Thank you. Clear the stumbling tongue. Oh God. Thank you. Yes, we do get to give ourselves grace.
Yeah, and permission to be human.
Yes.
Yes, abundantly human.
Yes. Oh my goodness. We talk about that one, don't we? We get to have fun with the inner knowing, one of my favorite topics, the inner knowing, and then really what it takes to create the life that we love and the life of our dreams. So this is from page 112 for those of you that are reading along. And for the month of November, we are reading Creating Money, Attracting Abundance. This is what it looks like. So grab the book if you don't have it. If you already have it, we're on page 112 at the very bottom. For every part of you that is afraid, there is also a part that knows you can succeed. For every part of you that is afraid, there is also a part of you that knows you can succeed. And I couldn't agree with that more. And I want to talk about the inner knowing, like really dive deeper into that. But let's just talk about the total concept for every part of you that is afraid, because there's always a part of us that's afraid, right? Whatever it is that we're creating, especially if it's outside of our comfort zone, it's new and it's big and it's different.
Always
going to be there, right? And if we listen in to the whisper, there's a part of us that absolutely knows that we can be successful at creating it.
Yes. What came up for me when you were reading that, and this is my mantra, when you're afraid, we're all going to be afraid, do it anyway. Do it afraid. Just push through it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that inner tiny voice that you're talking about is that inner knowing that if you really listen and sit quietly and visualize yourself in the place of the thing that you want to do that you're afraid to do, scared to do it anyway, because you can see yourself in there. And it's very, very, very powerful to visualize yourself standing right where you want to be and even feel the butterflies.
Yes. Yeah. And let the butterflies get comfortable with the butterflies, because they're going to be part of the journey too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What comes up for me is also, that there is a journey to listening to our inner guidance, right? Sometimes fear is, oh, I've never done this before, but I'm super excited. And so I get to push through it and do it anyway. And sometimes there is a resistance that is truly our inner knowing saying, hey, this isn't the right path for me, or hey, this isn't the right next step in this moment. And it's such a journey to discover the difference between those two voices, so we know when to move forward and through our fears, and when we learn to say, no, this isn't the path for me. And it is through getting it wrong. I don't believe there's necessarily a wrong step, but doing something that we weren't really sure if we were pushing through a fear. And so we went for it. And then we realized, oh, that wasn't quite it. But it is through that journey that actually allows us to develop the knowing of what voice is the one that's afraid that we get to push through, and the voice that is really guiding us towards our highest path.
Yeah, I agree. That's really wise advice. And for everyone to know that making a mistake is part of life. If you're not making mistakes, you're not definitely not doing enough. And we call that failing forward. And there is such power in the ability to fail forward, pick yourself back up, fall down 7 times, get up 8, and pick yourself back up and try it again. Shift and pivot, as we call that in our emotional intelligence transformational world, if you will. Pick yourself up, shift and pivot, go down the next path. And what you're doing is collecting evidence how not to do it, and collecting evidence that you can get up, shift and pivot, and keep moving. The mistakes will pass.
Yeah, that's so powerful. And collecting evidence of how to do it, right? Because it's as we collect those things, there might be 99% that didn't work, but the 1% that did, we're taking forward and we're adding to the next thing that we find, okay, this is a piece that worked, this is a piece that worked, and we're collecting and collecting. And at some point, we have a whole collection of lots of things that work that we're moving forward with.
Yeah, I call it putting it, the evidence in your toolbox of the failures, so you know what that feels like, and the evidence of what it feels like to pick yourself up and shift and pivot and go down a different path that did work. So collecting that evidence. So when you're down the road facing another decision, do it anyway. Do it afraid, because you'll be able to pick yourself back up. One of my mantras is never, ever, ever, ever give up. Tenacity. Because there's going to be that time where you succeed, and you never know what it's going to look like. And the mistakes are where the gold is. That's where you learn so much about who you are and how you can show up in the world to be successful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's dive into the inner knowing, because I used to believe, and I like to use the word faith as well, although I do have some resistance around it, just because there was a part of me that when I was first using the word faith, introduced to the word faith, and it was a common word in my life, I associated it with hope. Excuse me. So in my mind, when I would hear faith, I would have this like feeling like, oh, I'm just going to have faith that it's possible. And there was just like this hoping, without evidence, which is what faith is. But there was a less powerful place of what faith truly is. And what faith truly is this deep knowing. It's when we know something to be true, and then we can surrender and let go of when or how and any parts of the outcome, because we know so deeply that this is our path, that this is where we're headed, this is the place we will eventually arrive, that deep knowing. And it's so powerful.
It is powerful, and there's so much freedom and so much peace in really stepping into faith. And when you know what your path is, your body feels it. Everything's in alignment, and it's none of the doing, it's the being, and the path just unfolds before you. It's really, really very beautiful, powerful.
Yeah. I hear so many people speak into, figure out all the details and imagine all the details. And I think that there's value in that. But for me, I got a little hung up on, trying to figure out all the details and try to imagine all the details, and thinking I needed to be able to do that to know what I was creating. And sometimes it is, the surrender itself is so powerful. When we know something so truly to be true, we walk the path, we take the steps, and we trust and surrender the outcome. What shows up is beyond what we could have ever imagined. So imagining has some value in it. And I think the fun part about imagining is when we've created whatever it is that we were creating, like some of those details, I've experienced some of those details are there. And it's kind of like, whoa, how cool that is even here.
Right.
That's even showing up in my space. But how beautiful is it that when we let go of the details, we let go of the how, that some of the most amazing stuff that we never could have imagined shows up.
Yeah, it's so true. There's, I'm sure that we've all heard that if you imagine a goal, imagine a dream, and just have faith and manifest all the details and let it go. Sometimes they talk about writing down your goals on paper is powerful, which is true. But for me, the imagining of things and all the details show up, and then the details that show up that I could never have created myself. We know that God's such a show off. He will put things together. He can see around the blind corner and put us together with people that we can collaborate. And two minds are always better than one. We can come up with such creative, magical ideas. So
Yeah.
I love that. Mhm.
Yeah, it's so important. I'm glad that you said that because we talk about it a bit here and there, but there's nothing that one person alone can create that is going to be bigger than what two or more can create.
Great.
Whether it's understanding a new level of something that we are discovering, or whether it's actually physically creating, a business or a venture. Adventure, yeah. Venture is the word that I'm saying there. Whatever it is, that if we are in collaboration, I'm a huge fan for collaboration, which is why I say, hey, join the tribe, talk to people, meet people, like connect, because we're never going to play a bigger game than when we play with others.
Never, ever. And it's so much more fun.
Yeah.
The stress level, there's just so many layers right here. It's like, oh, this is chewy and yummy. Lone wolfing is this thing where we think it's all about us, and we strive and we work hard and we burn ourselves out. And that's not how we're designed to function. So this thing called team and collaboration, if you're open to attracting the highest and best for yourself, that shows up, and then your teammates show up, and it creates itself if you surrender to it and if you're open to it. Lone wolfing is 100% ego, and once we let go of that and know that it's not all about us, it's all about me, it's all about everyone, because we are all one. And when we unite to come to a common goal, it's so powerful and so much fun, and there's so much freedom. And you get to also hold others up in their genius.
And that, holding others up, that there's also times where we are not our best. We're not always going to be at our best, and there's things that'll come along and make us feel down or make us stumble and not feel all the things that we're like gung-ho about if we're doing it alone. But when we stand together, when one struggles, the rest is there to stand with. And when it's our turn to struggle, the rest are there to stand with. And there is constant forward, powerful movement that way.
That is so powerful that you just said that. I want everyone that's listening to know that every powerful human being that walks has a moment or a season of sadness or weakness. And in the weakness, we get to learn how loved we are, how held we are, and how powerful we are just being rather than the doing. And being the strongest human in the room is not where success is. It's allowing others to hold you high, allowing others to love you. And we talk about abundance is a figure 8, receiving as well as giving. And there's a time when everyone is going to walk a path into season where they're not their powerful, full of life self. And that's when the power of team shows up, and you learn so much about yourself. You learn so much about the world, and you learn so much that you are valuable enough and worthy enough to be loved and carried.
Yeah, I've heard so many billionaire men say that the most brilliant man in the room is the man who knows he is not the most brilliant man in the room. And just layering that on, is what you're saying and what we're talking about here is that as women, if we get that we don't have to know it all, and that is the value, there's like so much value in letting go of the need to know it all and just surrounding ourselves with our tribe and our people and allowing ourselves to be held, that is where wisdom is.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
All right, let's jump into the next part, which is from page 116. At the bottom, creating your dreams takes patience, persistence, and commitment. So good, right? Because
words.
some of your favorite words, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, creating your dreams takes patience, persistence, and commitment. I have definitely been in the place before where I thought, this isn't working. Let's, put that down. Oh, nothing's, happening. So I'm not going to continue that. Even with fitness, I'm like, Terry, I'm getting bored. I'm tired of these exercises. But it is through that patience, persistence, and commitment that we create anything and everything that we want in our lives. It's going through the boring stuff. Alex Hormozy says, and I think that someone else says it too, that that success comes from being willing to do something basically like boring for a ridiculous amount of time. Like what might feel ridiculous, like where it's like a very, very long time.
Yeah, if you have the foundational pieces, persistent, it talks about in here, I call that consistency. Staying committed through the boring, through the monotonous. If you show up consistently, there will be results if you know that you're taking the next right step. And the next line, if I may, says, trust that whatever you are experiencing right now is perfect for your growth. I think that's powerful. You really get to trust. And having a coach coming to me when you were bored with whatever was going on, it's like, it's the consistency. It's the small hinges swing great big doors. Keep taking that next right step.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what I love about coaches, great coaches that that you trust and they know the path for whatever it is that you're creating, is that it is that reminder when we don't know that I'm actually going to create it, right? Because if we don't have the right steps and then we're doing it over and over again and we're going through the boring and we're being patient, we're wasting a lot of time to not create what we want. So there is a part of our brains going, is this actually going to create what I want? So having someone who's walked the path, who's been there, who's actually supported others to do it and knows what the end result is, to stand with us and remind us why we're doing it and remind us that, yes, it's not only working now, but it is, you're heading towards your goal, is really powerful.
Yeah, you touched on something super powerful there. Having coaches, again, not lone wolfing it. I had a trainer, I had a coach, I had a nutritionist, I had a mentor when I was competing and in the figure bodybuilding world. And I ended up going professional. And I could never have done that by myself, because there was days that I didn't have that powerful workout in the gym, but I showed up. And my trainer was there that saw my greatness when I didn't see it in me at all. So your partner, your trainer, your coach is such a powerful component to success. Because again, there's going to be days where you don't feel like it. You don't want to show up. You show up, you have your partner there, and they hold you high through the ups and the downs. And seeing your greatness when you don't see it yourself, and they believe in you when you don't believe in yourself. I loved that part. That was such a powerful lesson for me. I just let go, surrender to my coach, find someone that you really trust, a business partner, a coach,
Yeah.
and you'll be able to
Mentors.
rise above. Mhm.
Yeah. Someone who's walked the path and can see
Yeah.
kind of like at that higher level.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah. Because consistency and persistence and patience are all powerful when we're using the right tools, when we are, using the hammer on the nail and not swinging with something
Yeah.
that's not ever going to get us there.
Yeah, that's super important.
Yeah. So good. Yeah. And I think that that's, for me, what has been some of the things that were challenging is, I'm sticking through it. I'm doing all the steps and I'm seeing very little results. So, the mind just pauses and goes, are these the right tools? Are these the steps that are actually going to get me there? So yeah, I think it's good to question, like to allow ourselves to question and make sure that we are actually being patient and persistent with things that are going to create the result, and then surrounding ourselves with people that have actually walked that path, whether it's tribe, mentor, coach, someone that's not the friends that are like, what are you doing? What, the ones that make you feel like you're so different. Those are not the ones that can support us. I hear people talk about, as an example, someone who has struggled with dating or, finding a relationship, and then they'll say where they're getting their advice is amongst all the single girlfriends that are talking, having a conversation. And there's nothing wrong with like camaraderie, but if we're surrounding ourselves with people that are not getting the result that we want, that's not going to support us in moving forward. So just pause moment to look around and go, where am I getting my advice from?
Yeah.
Who is actually going to be that person or people to support me in forward movement?
Yes, it's like when you're in a marriage and you're disgruntled about something, always speak to people that are, first of all, if you're going to speak to anybody at all, make it a very, very small circle, and speak to only those that are in favor and in support of both of you and of the marriage, for an example, rather than we can always collect evidence to support our side, but that's not a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, having a friend that's going to go, you're right, you should be mad at him, isn't going to actually support us in getting what we want and creating that juicy relationship. That's really what we want. It will just validate our frustration and keep us there.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I'm putting in where you can register for the book club for those that would like to register and join us. And you can always check out Terry at fityouforlife.com. The U is the letter U, the 4 is the number 4. Yes. Fityouforlife.com. Terry, thank you so much for being in this conversation. We get to say goodbye to YouTube.
Pleasure.
Thank you everyone for watching.